start the presentation, I would request you guys to do me a small favor. You know, I want to get some thoughts from you. I'd like to ask you guys to close your eyes for a couple of minutes. Please close your eyes. It's not a joke. Just close your eyes. Everybody, please close your eyes. And I'll mention a word, and just after that, when you open your eyes, I would want you to tell me what you thought first when I mentioned that word. Internet. You can open your eyes now. What came first to your mind when you heard the word internet? Computer. Computer? Okay.
Knowledge window.
Google. Knowledge window.
Socioeconomic leveler, sorry.
Freedom.
Sorry.
Freedom.
No, I'm telling the truth.
So,
Connected.
Connected. Communication. So, you know, there are so many things which came across, right? We said computer, which is technology, and we said socio-economic level, which is bringing power, empowering the people. And then we heard the word information, knowledge, Google, search. Surprisingly, nobody said entertainment, right? That's one of the biggest business on internet, as far as I know.
The crowd is not the same crowd.
Yeah. And communication. So if you look at these things, you know, what does the internet allow you to do? It allows you to get information for things which you want, or it allows you to stay connected with people, and it helps you entertain you. Now, let's look at the internet from the perspective of people who are digitally disconnected, who do not have an access to a computer at home or at work or any other place. And what does internet mean for them? How do they experience this internet without an access to the computer? And we've talked about or heard about mobiles being the most ubiquitous thing right now. Everyone has a mobile. Or some people have 2, 3 mobiles. So what we started off with the blank sheet. This was in June 2008 when our team was asked to go out and bring the internet experience to the next billion of people. It's always about billions and millions, right? So how do you bring the next internet experience to the next billion of people? And these are people who will probably not ride the information wave or the entertainment wave the way we did. We were hooked onto television, and then we looked at the internet, and then we moved on to the smartphones. But there is a group of people, the next billion, which will never look at the computer. They will directly experience the internet on their mobile phones. So how do you create a habit of this information access in these people? That was the challenge which we had. And on November 4, 2008, a historical day for other reasons as well, President Obama came to power by giving people hope and telling them, yes, we can. On that day, we announced the launch of Nokia Life 2. We said we will come out with this device, with this application, which would be affordable, easy to access, would provide a sort of an internet experience to those people who have never seen the internet. And these are on phones like these. It's not the smartphones, it is the less than €100 phones on which this application comes pre-embedded. It's already there, so the person need not download it. June 2009, in India, we launched this service, and I'll just tell you what some of the features of these this application are and what kind of information we are disseminating there to people. Primarily, our markets focuses on health, agriculture, and education services. Information is available in the person's own language. So in India right now we are catering to 12 languages. In Nigeria it's 3 languages. China it's in Chinese. In Indonesia it's in Bahasa Indonesian. So we are providing the information in their own local language with an easy to use interface, because though this is based on SMS technology, the platform by which we send the messages is SMS. Because there's a client already in there, the experience is richer. We can create tables, we can put in icons. You know, you have this iPhone app on weather, you do the sunny and things like that. So we can put in the same kind of icons in this interface, in the messages which people see. And there's no hassles with settings. Like I said, it's already there on the phone. When you buy the phone, it's there. Click of a button, you get into the tool. And because it is SMS, you need not have a data package to receive the information or subscribe to the service. And that's how it looks once you launch it. And when we launched it, like I said, what we wanted to do was address specific need points of these consumers. And when I said need points, what information, we went, let's go back to the first thing which you started off, information. What information do these people need? Information which helps them improve their livelihood and also to live better. So what is it in these markets? Agriculture. India is still an agriculture economy. 65% of the families in India are still dependent on agriculture. And most of China or Indonesia is still dependent on that. So that was one of the services we launched, the first services which we launched, agriculture, where it's about disseminating information for specific to your postal code. You give me your postal code and the crops you're growing, I'll tell you what prices your produce will fetch in a mandi which is as close as 60 kilometers from your place. And education, where the services which we cover under that are learning English, exam preparation for the grade and the curriculum to which the child is studying. And then we said, okay, let's go into healthcare. We still didn't launch healthcare in June 2009 because healthcare is a very tricky thing, like you know, what do we do? How far do we go? What are the regulations? And then we said, okay, let's ask the people what they want. This research, the findings from this research were from 22 different countries which we went to, big sample sizes. And of all the countries which we surveyed, health information or people saying that I want to stay healthy every day came up either number 1 or number 2. Jobs in certain countries were the number 1 priority where healthcare was taken for granted. And these are actual quotes from what people said. And then we said, okay, people are saying I want to stay healthy every day, I want information, but what kind of information do we provide them? Like you mentioned, we can't copy paste information. I cannot take Medscape content or Crames content and then say, okay, come on, use this. So what information do these people need? Then I said, okay, what are the pain points in the emerging markets? And if I have to provide this information on the phone which I just showed you, which invariably is a family asset. Yes, the father owns the phone, he goes out to work, comes back, and then the child at home downloads the ringtone. His wife picks the phone, she wants to make a call to her home. So it's a family asset. So the information should be relevant to everyone in the family. That's when we said, okay, let's look at how the family progresses. Right from conception to death, we should be able to send some information to all these people. And when you look at it, there are so many preventable things out there in a person's life which they encounter. Just prevention of or eradication of polio will save annually $10 billion globally. That's how huge something like polio is. And what is the intervention needed? 2 drops of polio vaccine until the child is 5 years of age. That's it. But it can save $10 billion annually. Hygiene, simple hygiene. The act of washing your hands 5 times a day. If you don't do it, the global cost due to diarrhea and other associated hygiene-related diseases is 15% of the global healthcare
That
cost.
means our elders were doing fine,
They want hygienic
wash their hands, no?
Or, Sachin Pilot was speaking earlier today and he was saying, we still have to fight nutritional imbalances. How do we make our mothers and children healthy, right? Vaccine I talked about, then nutrition, what do we eat? Well, okay, I somehow get a mechanism of asking someone to send me information. It says, okay, eat broccoli, strawberries. Okay, what's broccoli? I've never seen a broccoli in my life. So what are the local resources I can eat or I can consume which will keep me healthy, which will keep my child healthy? Now that's what they need to know. And once they grow up, there are other things, right? You change your lifestyle, drug abuse, big problem in some of the emerging markets, smoking, and there are the other community sanitation, infections, parasitic infestations, malaria. We are rolling back on malaria continuously for years and years, still not being able to control it. We said, okay, let's focus on this information. But, okay, we can tell people, hey, this is good for you, do this. But how do you ensure that they act on it? You won't act on it unless you know it is relevant for yourself. You know that it is at that particular precise point of time when I need the information. And that's the reason we said, hey, we'll ask people to input some parameters. Though it is preventive health, we are talking about here, we want to be sure that the people take action. So people, for example, in a pregnancy advice, when somebody subscribes to our service, the expecting mother inputs either her expected date of delivery, if she's gone to a doctor and knows that day, or her last menstrual period, because most of the people we see in these economies where they mark on their calendar so that they know when was the last menstrual period. So that's the day we ask people to enter. And based on that, at the back end we calculate what stage of pregnancy she is in right now. Which week of pregnancy? Does she need to go and take her tetanus injection? Does she need to go and do a scan for gestational diabetes right now? What time does she need to do her ultrasound scan to see if the baby is engaged? So the information is sent in that particular week. It serves as a reminder because it's relevant because it's that particular stage. And childcare, we collect the information about the date of birth of the child. So based on the date of birth, the vaccine schedule, what does the child do? Hey, your child can sit up now without support, hold something in a pincer grip, do something, encourage the child to develop that skill better. Or identifying some of those problems in development. Right? Not many people know, what is the proper progress the child needs to take, emotionally and as well as psychomotor. Because we know the age of the child, we tell them this is what your child is supposed to do at this point of time. If it doesn't, better watch out. See a physician. That's understanding what is needed at different stages will convert advice to action, and that is more important. There are hundreds of things out there. There's tons of information on the internet. People go and access it, but is everyone taking an action to it? No, they're not. And then we said, okay, that's fine. Now we understood what it is, but which country what? Right? It might not be relevant. We have to be local. And we said maternal and child health across the markets. This is in the order of launch of healthcare services, which I put in. China was the first. We came in early 2010, late 2010. Nigeria, early 2010. Indonesia, 11. Indonesia and India. That's the order we launched our healthcare services in. Pregnancy, childcare, under mother and child was something which is there globally. So is health and fitness. And health topics, we looked at some of the topics which are relevant for this market. Nigeria has 300,000 deaths due to HIV/AIDS a year. So HIV/AIDS is one of the prominent. So it's the first service under our health topics in Nigeria. And for these topics, people input their gender and age. So the information is relevant to the age of the individual as well as the gender where it is necessary. So I'll just walk you through one service example of what kind of information we are sending out. So in the first 6 weeks, usually the person is not aware of the status of pregnancy, but they still need to see a doctor, so the information there is still relevant to that. 6 to 12 weeks, it's a high risk time for the fetus. And there's an importance to folic acids, personal safety, so that they head towards a good labor. So that's the kind of information we send in that stage. 12 to 24, rapid child growth, iron, calcium supplementation. If you're not taking supplementation, how do you get it from your natural sources? That's the kind of information which goes in there during that stage of pregnancy. After 24, it's all about how do you prepare yourself to be a parent. Now it's all nuclear family, right? The joint family culture is gone. Who do they look up to for information? What are the things which I expect? How do I get myself ready? That's the kind of information we're trying to provide in that stage. And this information is all in 12 different languages in India, 16 languages across the 4 countries, and relevant to the geography. And wherever it's needed, it's specific to that particular language or state. That's how deep we're going into information. So it's preventive health information, but we believe that that is the first step the consumer needs to take, and then they'll move on and make it easier for applications where they can monitor themselves. But information or awareness is the key first. That's what we believe, and that's where we are starting. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Dr. Gowda. One of the interesting, there was one slide that you had, which was the center, and then you had all these various things coming in. And at the end of the day, I think one of the amazing things that you guys are doing is, way back when in the 90s, Ed Zander, who was the former CEO of Motorola, coined a phrase called seamless mobility. And seamless mobility means you, in his mind, was all about technologies talking to each other. When in fact, seamless mobility has nothing to do with technology. It's all about the consumer and the customer. So in the old days, you used to go to the doctor to get your test. You used to go to the ATM to get your cash. You used to go to the travel agent to get your tickets. In the new world, so you go to X was the old world. In the new world, X comes to you. And by using what you're doing, you're bringing education to people. You're not making them go to education. You're bringing health and information to people. And I think that's remarkable that you guys are doing that. Are there any, there may be one question, time for one
Sorry,
question?
wait for questions, sir. If there are any.
How popular are the services?
Sorry.
What's the kind of penetration? How popular?
So,
Sorry, before that, is it pay per use or is it subscriptions?
so it's both. If somebody wants to pay per use, it's available for that. It's a subscription service as well. It's on a monthly subscription basis. At about €0.50 per month subscription. And your second question was, how's the penetration? So we don't disclose numbers. We're a business, so we don't disclose numbers by service. But overall, about 35 million people have experienced Life 2 in the 4 countries since launch. That's how many people have seen it.
How cheap is it to pay for
They are willing to pay. If they see value, you bring value to people, they are ready to pay.
similar kind of content is available on the web as well?
That's what I told, right? It's going through the pains of seeing that it's relevant. When you have to go there, search for information, and these are not people